All right, Jimmy, Justin, welcome to the channel. I'm super pumped to have you guys here today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And what we'll be talking about is using LinkedIn to do what everybody wants. That's make sales, big sales, commercial deals, connect with the decision makers, connect with, as you guys put it, connectors. So we're going to dive into the nitty gritty because everyone's reaching out. Adam, how do I get into commercial? What steps do I take? How do I sell it? And everyone's chasing the whales. So again, both of you, thank you for being here. Before we jump in, quick intros are in order. Jimmy, Justin, let's start with Jimmy just so we don't talk over each other. Lead Baller, you are the founder of Lead Baller.
Right.
Tell the story real quick.
Sure. Yeah. Really, it's a pretty natural progression. So coming right out of high school, I was selling Cutco knives, and that's when by the way, I'm not at no point in my story will you hear me say that, like, I came from roofing or anything. So that's kind of cool that we have a very outside perspective, but
Sure.
Started selling Cutco knives. So like, I understand the hustle of knocking on doors and stuff. And I did that for 3 years. Actually, I was a top performer there. Thought I could make more money applying the same amount of energy to a different industry that wasn't kitchen utensils. So I joined Northwestern Mutual, financial industry. Funny story. It's actually how I met Justin. He was one of my prospects. I was messaging him on LinkedIn. So he might be able to get into that. And then while I was also prospecting, the CEO of the fastest growing company in North Carolina responded to my message. And I was kind of selling him. He was kind of selling me on working with him and expanding his company. So after telling him no a bunch of times, and then also sending him over to Justin for him to talk to Justin, maybe sell him on working at his company, Justin and I drove down there and toured this guy's laboratory as a medical company. And 3 weeks later decided that we're going to leave both of our jobs and moved down to Charlotte, North Carolina. By the way, Justin was my friend now for maybe like 4 to 6 months, and we hung out like 2 or 3 times. So it's kind of a leap of faith for both of us. But then we went from, for what ended up being, a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, spending every minute of every day together, both working like 12 to 15 hours a day, grocery shopping, going to church, and all that stuff, like going to networking stuff, everything. But the important part of that story is we were taking the same processes that I was using in the financial industry to get meetings with people to get meetings with doctors and connectors for the medical industry. And easily in the first year, they created a couple $1 million for the company. And then we started training other people on our team how to do that same approach. And it's easy to say that, after this second year we were there, the next year we were there, I created an extra 8 figures in revenue for that company. And then questions started coming of people asking me how we're getting meetings with people, and started sharing freely with friends in the company, friends outside the company in different industries. And I kept getting the feedback that, man, this is way better than what I just paid another person to train my team on 3 months ago. And I heard that enough times that I started building enough confidence to build a course, actually. So that way it's easier for me to help people when they would ask for help. And then I started getting paid to speak. Obviously, I ended up exiting that medical company to focus on just growing this consulting business. I held retreats, rent out lake mansions, had people flying from all over the country to hear me talk at them for a few days and learn my process. But I actually got a little frustrated because I found that when I would teach people, even if I would take thousands of dollars from them, they oftentimes would not go back home or go back to their office and implement it every single day. So we built out an agency where we would just take the controller and do the work for people, regardless of whether or not we got enough sleep the night before, or had the discipline, or just had the time that day. We were going to be reaching out every day from our client's account. And that way they continuously had constant outreach, playing the numbers game. When I'm talking to my roofing clients, I just call it like virtual door knocking, right? So it's not a matter of discipline. Like, you are hiring our team to reach out to a certain number of people every single day, regardless of any excuse that sales reps tend to make. So that's kind of the cool thing. And people are able to leverage their sales team. If you have 10 salespeople, well, now, instead of just having them knock on doors from, whatever time of, business hours they might be doing that, you can also have them virtually knocking on doors at the same time or even after hours. So built the agency. I mean, it's been a couple years, since 2.5 years probably, but really it was January of last year that it was just me and 2 other people. And now there's, about 30 people in our company ever since we built out this done for you model. But yeah, that's kind of how it all happened. I was a top performing sales guy and turned my process into a product and started offering it to people.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just awesome. And just for everyone tuning in, we're not going to be sitting here saying to go buy anything. What we're going to be connecting with is learning the actual strategies that Jimmy and Justin have developed and refined.
Yep.
Have people using, so everyone tuning in can actually take this material and start using it. Of course, there will be contact information if you click the link in the video or podcast description to get in touch with them. You are welcome to. In fact, I encourage it, because leveraging time, as we know, is our limiting factor in our earning potential. And if you can automate or delegate these income producing activities, your return is going to be crazy wild. So fantastic. So 8 figures in revenue is what you grew. I love that you focused on getting meetings. As we get into this, because I'd love to get to those like tangible, put it to use tactics. Before that, I think there's some groundwork we need to cover. Justin, I'm going to turn to you if it's okay, because you and I talked about this when we were on Armando Cox's podcast, and talked about the difference between physically door knocking. So Jimmy, you mentioned digital or virtual door knocking. We go right into a pitch pretty quickly, but what changes when we're doing this digitally? Justin, or is that a better question for Jimmy?
Yeah, no, I think kind of run with it. It kind of dives into a little bit of the philosophy behind Lead Ball and what we do. And also huge shout out to Armando. How do you say his last name again, Adam? Armando J. Cox? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
Anyways, long short, he has an awesome contractor show. And anyways, check it out. But yeah, on our side, it's that, in the digital prospecting world, which you have to be really good at, and the world is slowly moving towards, actually not even slowly, it was very fast, and you adjusted or you adapted or you died as a company, is that you have to be careful of how you come across. It's a completely different relationship building technique. And so on a lot of platforms, you have to be careful of is that if you connect with someone, and let's just keep it to LinkedIn because it might make it as simple as possible, and then you send them a bunch of links and say, hey, let's connect, and I want to talk to you and yada, yada, yada. They're not only mad, but it crushes them ever wanting to work with you ever again. Because who are you to know if you need to help me or not, right? Like, first off, if you're good in sales, you understand that you might be able to help them and you might not. And at the end of the day, you have to build that rapport. So there has to be a process of hyper targeting to make sure you're getting in front of the right people to protect your time, or else then this can really crush your time. Then it's how do you nurture relationships with the right people that you're targeting, meaning interacting with their content, loving on them, making them feel like you are a radical fan, that you are part of their community or what they're doing and you believe in them. And then you reach out in a really custom way. Jimmy and I talk a lot about this book called The Purple Cow, but it's like, how are you the purple cow, the person who stands out, who their outreach stands out. Stand outreach is what we talk a lot about. And so you reach out to them in a customized way that they will never get ever again. Then they know that if you do that, if you put that much time and effort into before you ever know them, then you're going to totally blow them away. And they almost can't sleep at night if they don't meet with you. And so if you can do that and do it at scale or automated, that's when things get really exciting. And that's what you have to do in the digital prospecting world, or else you look like everyone else and you get a bunch of no's and it hurts your brand.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we touched on this philosophy, because it's very difficult being in direct sales, door-to-door sales. We're so used to being able to knock the door, start our conversation, transition to our pitch, and have a one-call close. And when we transition to the digital landscape, and I want to repeat this for everyone to really let this sink in, it is a different approach and a different strategy. If you go into that kill, like how many times have you reached out on LinkedIn or someone connects, and then all of a sudden, I remember I've even scrolled up, like, you literally just sent me a storybook. You are wasting my time. I don't know you. It's clearly you saw it. There's a bullseye on my back. You can sell me something. There's this pitch. I don't care about the free crap you want to give me. I don't care about what you've done. Me. Click to book a call. It's like, shut up, dude. Do you know what you're doing? But it doesn't work the same from in person to the digital world. And this is, again, something that we need to consider. And patience. You mentioned connecting, engaging, supporting them, and then escalating from there. So now we got that groundwork out of the way. Can we get into some tactics about commercial side? Because I hear this all the time. Adam, help me land commercial deals. What do I do? How do I get in front of the right people? So there's some fundamentals here of who that decision maker is. What I'd love to do is just turn it over to you guys. If I just came to you and walk me through it and I say, hey, Jimmy, Justin, I'm ready for some commercial sales. What do I do to get started?
Yeah. I mean, I got four steps if you're ready for me to start firing away. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So, and if anyone's listening, when I teach this, it's a good idea to have like, if maybe at least 4 sheets of paper, and just at the top of each one, I'll give you the title for each one. But the first step is actually profile optimization. And what Adam was just talking about with the difference between digital door knocking and actually physically door knocking, one of the things you have to remember is that in some ways it's harder to get people to respond, because, you know, anyone that's knocked on doors that's listening to this, they have had people slam the door in their face, but it takes a lot more courage, or someone's like a much meaner person to slam a door on a real person's face than to do it digitally, right? We talk like the social media warriors and stuff, people that have so much courage to be mean to people when they're on the internet because they don't have to face the consequences of it, right? Well, that's what's happening when you're prospecting online. So you have to keep that in mind. And when it comes to your profile, that's why it's even more important for you to humanize your profile and for you to not just look like a headshot blending in with everybody else. Now, I will say that there's people that defy the odds. I want to give a shout out to Walker over at Cornerstone, who had one of the worst profiles. You know, he's the CEO of a really badass roofing company, and he listed himself as like a project manager. Had this like frat boy picture from college, I think, as his picture and stuff. But he still got great response rates. So sometimes there's people that defy the odds, especially when you have a great offer. And done is always better than perfect. So don't let perfection slow you down from actually just taking action. But if you're going to be working hard, if you're going to be taking action, you might as well make sure it's the most efficient. And that's what an optimized profile does. So if you're taking notes on profile optimization, the 2 words that come to mind, one of them is authority. The second word is authenticity. So those are the 2 messages that you want to come across when you're creating your LinkedIn profile. Go ahead.
You want to tear mine apart?
Ooh, are you about to pull it up?
Yeah. Is that cool?
Awesome. Yes, please.
All right. Here's my LinkedIn.
Adam, great plug. This is perfect for you. That's like,
well, no, I mean, it's easy for people. Like authenticity and authority are concepts. And if we pick mine apart, people would be like, oh, that's where that goes. And that's where this goes. So,
totally.
But yeah, tell me what to expand, where to click, and just chew into it, unfiltered.
All right. Yeah. Let's start with the foundation. And then I'll use your profile as the example for those foundational things. So remember, authority and authenticity. I'm going to give you 4 sections of your profile. The top, the one section is your banner. So the background picture. Mm-hmm. This is one area for you to communicate either authority or authenticity. Another one is your profile picture, right? That circular picture. Another one is your headline, which is the stuff below your name or next to your name. And then the 4th big opportunity is going to be your about section or your summary, which you'll scroll down a little bit. And which
right here,
there you go, your about section. Yep.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 key areas. Obviously, there's a lot of other areas on your profile, but when people are checking you out, right? And also keep in mind that there's really 2 times that people are checking you out. And I would write that down. When you send them a connection request, and 2, when you send them a message. And both of these things, you're kind of asking them for something. You're asking for them to either accept the connection request or for them to respond to your message. And both times, oftentimes people will go to your profile, check you out, see if they know where this conversation's about to go before they have to respond, so they don't get themselves into a conversation they don't want to be in, right? And we can all relate to that, right? People are smarter than we give them
someone on Facebook. You know, someone reaches out like, who is this person?
100%.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine, man. And please, you'll have to do that because I'll steamroll. So feel free to like raise your hand and interrupt as I'm doing this.
No, I didn't.
All right. Yeah. So the 4 key areas where you can communicate authority or authenticity. So I think for you, especially you, Adam, if you can pull off authority, then definitely do it. And a big area of opportunity is that banner. Because I know for you, man, next month, I'm going to see you. You're going to be speaking at RoofCon. I'm sure that's not your first time speaking in front of a group of people. And then my guess is that there's probably a picture of you doing that. And that is something that communicates authority, right? And authority, the reaction that you get from authority is, and keep in mind, people are going to be seeing your profile when you're requesting to connect with them, or you're asking them for something in a message. So they see that there's crowds of people that listen to you speak. Well, then it's one of those things where like there's FOMO if they don't respond to you. Like you look like an influential person, and they might raise their level of influence by having a relationship with you, right? It looks like they wouldn't be the first person in the world to say yes to having a conversation with you. There's that social proof. No one wants to be first. So make sure people understand that they're not the first person to ever say yes to having a conversation with you.
So a salesperson might want to create an image with some reviews in there, customer interactions, maybe being on a roof with an adjuster, or anything of, I don't know, I'm trying to think like volunteer type work or in front of a group of people. Am I on the right track?
Yeah. So there's a variety of ways to flex the social proof. Volunteer stuff, where everyone's picking up a shovel and taking a picture of them building a house or whatever.
Sure.
There's you and your team. I'm sure you and your team have taken a picture of you guys having fun in the past. There's anytime I've consulted people on this before, and I'm like, hey guys, do you ever have like a morning powwow where it's like 5 of you guys talking? Well, have someone in your next meeting take a picture of you when it's your turn to talk in that conversation. And there might be 3 other people, but it looks like you're like consulting that room. So there's a lot of ways to get the job done. Now,
Gotcha.
if you can't like fake it till you make it even, then no big deal. Then just double down on the authenticity. Now, whereas authority gets people to respond to you is more like fear-based, fear of missing out. The authenticity is more like love-based. It's like, wow, this is a real human being that I can relate to. And it becomes really hard for you to not respond to them when they're not just a digital pixel. They're actually like a person that has feelings and a family and all that stuff. I've had clients have pictures of their family, like their family portrait as their banner, which most people would assume is a big no-no on LinkedIn because it's supposed to be all graphs and charts and stuff like that, really boring. Well, yeah, the reality is when it comes to like content related, the most engaging content on LinkedIn is still like cat and dog videos. Except someone might call you out for posting it, but still it gets people going. So,
yeah. So basically what we're trying to do is capture like, what is the first impression I would make if I were walking up to someone's door, dropping in their office, if I could design how they'd feel from the minute they met me. In fact, the minute's too long. From the first few seconds they met me, that's the feeling that I want to capture and build into my profile. Am I processing this properly?
Except you can probably what's cool is you can probably do a better job of it here, right? Because when you're walking up to someone's door, you might be a nobody, you might be a celebrity, but that person has no idea. But when you're on their LinkedIn profile, you can show that you have a really good reputation, right? So like double down on any advantage that you can when you're on your profile.
Gotcha.
And show that the keyword is social proof is a big one. And what you can do as well is flip-flop authority and authenticity. So if your banner is all about authority and so you speaking on a stage in front of a group of people, then in your profile picture, maybe it's like you giving your son a piggyback ride,
That's cool. Just to be like larger than life, but still a human. So let's hit this headline. I mean, I've done a little bit of LinkedIn research and I know that this is one of the first things people read. So what needs to go in a headline and how could mine be better?
So, and something that each person as they're creating a profile has to assess is whether or not the person that they're going to be reaching out to is getting reached out to by other people that sell the exact same thing that you sell. Mm-hmm. Because if they are, then you do not want to make your profile like a billboard that you're just like everyone else that has been spamming in their inbox. You might have to go a little bit more incognito, right? And just double down on like, hey, I'm Adam. I'm a business owner. I'm a great guy. Something I tell people all the time is think of the things that you have in common with your target market and showcase those things on your profile, both personally and professionally. That's why giving your son a piggyback ride kind of thing goes a long way because, I just had my son last month. So like, I can relate to that person so much more now. And that they're a real human being. So you can kind of make, now, if you're pioneering something that's brand new, or maybe it's like the beginning of coronavirus and you're selling masks or something like that, and you know that everyone you're reaching out to is looking for a mask vendor, then yeah, publicize the heck out of that, right? Because people are looking for your service, or you have something that they haven't seen before, or that they're going to roll their eyes when they see it. But if you're one of many people selling what you sell, then you just want to make sure that you're not losing an opportunity to have a connection right at the starting gate.
Gotcha.
One other quick note here on there too, Adam, is that a lot of times I would think about, if you were your prospect and they came and looked at your profile, what objections would they have? And then reverse engineer your profile to disarm them of all those objections. So if I'm in the lead gen space and I know I'm one of 714 people who reached out in the last 14 days, then I might focus a lot more on my cover photo being the company to show that we've got 30, 40 employees, which makes us so much bigger than everyone else. So it overcomes that objection of, is this guy just like working in his parents' basement and he's just trying to make some side money? So we've figured out these are the 4 or 5 objections. So they're going to gravitate more to an authority human being on lead gen, because I know that that's going to be their objections, where it might be different for each person. So just take that into account too as you're building it out.
Gotcha. That's super helpful. So and I don't want to go or spend too much time on this, only because we have so much ground to cover, but I just want to summarize. And then if there's any like key points, Justin or Jimmy, that you want to share, please do. Let's chime in and close that chapter till we move to step 2, because I know we have 3 more steps. So big one is your cover image, your profile image. And if you're listening on a podcast, unfortunately, you're missing the screen here. The headline is that little blurb that shows up beneath your name. And I've heard of various different techniques or strategies to use this. And then the about section, which is kind of like a summary as well. So is there anything within those that you want to leave us with as actionables before we transition to the next step of the process?
I think there's some good actionables there. I think to conclude it though, just remember to put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're prospecting. We all get pitched things every day. And, and just keep in mind that when they're going to be seeing your profile, and at what times. And if you're one of 1,000 people pitching the same thing, that you just want to make sure you're doubling down on, like, hey, I'm a business owner too. Hey, I'm a dad too. Hey, and then specific with the headline, some people will put founder, vertical line, roofing expert,
coffee connoisseur.
Right. Yeah. Something quirky about their personality or something like that, just to show that they're a fun person and show some personality. So just put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're prospecting.
Be a human.
Yeah. Be a human.
Yeah. Maybe I need a picture of like my dogs out there, me on a mountain bike.
Absolutely.
Well, Adam, on yours, I would keep the cover photo. Profile picture could maybe be you speaking on stage in front of tons of people. You cover authority with those top 2, and then your title could be you being a human, right? Sales, like lover or whatever, roofing obsession, coffee lover, dog lover, like whatever. But I think you could marry the 2 authority at the top with the genuine human being in the title, and then you got it all.
I wrote it all down in my thing. Profile photo on stage, title humanized, change the headline. Dig it. Thank you. By the way, I just want to say that when I'm looking down, I got my nose with that. So fantastic. So that summarizes step 1, which is profile optimization for authority and authenticity. And by the way, if anyone who's tuning in, the FAR snapshot, fast action result snapshot, I'll have this typed up, sent to your inbox. All right, let's move on to step number 2. Jimmy, what do we have for step number 2?
Yeah, step number 2 is targeting. So the main thing I want you to keep in mind with targeting is it's okay to be very specific in the beginning. Everyone uses the example of Amazon starting off selling books, saturated that market, and then expand. Do the same thing here. Start really picky about whatever your market you're going after. So obviously, before this call, Adam and Justin and I were discussing whether we're going to talk more about people leveraging this to build sales teams, people leveraging this to get connectors like realtors and stuff like that, or whether we're going to use it to go straight to the decision maker with commercial opportunities. And we'll use the commercial opportunities as the example for this. So I'll give you guys some like real good actionable ones right now. So when you guys are searching people on LinkedIn that could lead to a commercial sale, oftentimes those job titles include, you ready? So those job titles include warehouse manager. So warehouse manager is one of them. Factory manager is another one. And I'll show you guys where to go to like plug these in too. As a matter of fact, I'll pause real quick. Go ahead and Adam, go where it says people, warehouse manager and people, go and click that. And then it'll say all filters.
Connect. There we go.
Right. Scroll down to job titles.
At the very
Did
bottom.
I miss it?
No, very
It's the
bottom.
bottom. Yeah. So yeah, title. Yeah. So that's where I would put warehouse manager, comma, factory manager, facilities manager. And I'm missing
Adam,
one.
Adam, right there in the
Oh.
keywords. Second one from the bottom far left.
There it is. Gotcha. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I see production manager. So any of these things, plant manager. That's another good one. Any of those job titles indicate that this person is responsible for a very large roof. Right. So, so that's how you can like hunt whales. Other people have used it for property managers and connecting with those people. I've had some clients leverage it to get in front of HOAs and stuff, which is pretty rare that someone is like hustling the fact that they're like they run their neighborhood HOA on LinkedIn, but hundreds or even thousands of people do it. So those are big opportunities as well. But I'm drinking out of my big ass fans mug, and that's a commonality that they have with all of our roofing clients is they're going after those people that are in charge of, in their case, very large ceilings, which oftentimes have very large roofs. So
yeah, if you're buying $100,000 ceiling and multiple of them, you probably have an insane amount of square feet roof. Yeah.
Right. So that's super helpful. And one thing, if I may, Jimmy, and just tell me to pause if this doesn't make sense, but so many people just reach out and it like overwhelms me. They're like, well, I just want to get into commercial. So they just feel like if it's a big roof, it's theirs, but there's specialty products. There's knowing your audience. There's like the guy that works on HOAs. There's the guy that works on multifamily, the guy that works on apartments. And I like when you said being specific, like if you don't know who that is yet, it's hard to, that's like going fishing and just being like, well, what bait are you going to use? I don't know. Just try like everything. It's like, well, what kind of fish are here? I don't know. Just fish. Some of them will bite. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. You want to be efficient, put the right bait, know what kind of fish are in the area, know what they're going to bite on. And I know I use the fishing example all the time, even though I don't fish, but that's kind of the concept, right? Just being able to know who you're going after, so to speak, in terms of relationship development.
Yeah, I think that there's a platform too, Adam, where you can buy Sales Navigator, which we'll talk about later on. It's not even that expensive, but you could go after the title property manager and then use a lot of keywords of, multifamily, yada, yada, yada. So what you could do is you just can keep diving deeper and deeper. So you grab the title, you grab the geography, you grab the zip code, you can do within a certain radius, and then use keywords to double down on people who are in the exact part of the industry that you want. Gotcha. And so there's just a lot of ways that you can go 8 layers deep to get the right people.
Excellent. I'm going to zip it. Targeting. Anything else?
Well, and we're actually, this is like a very simple step. So it's once we're done, it's kind of set and forget it. But to Justin's point, the more specific you are in this stage, the more custom you can make your message later on and just like fire away. So something that, Lead Baller does as a service is we'll have our clients create one like video or one audio message so that we can send it at scale for a lot of people. So we usually tell them, hey, if you're going to go after warehouse managers, go after warehouse managers in North and South Carolina. So when we reach out to people, we can say, hey, what's going on? You probably noticed I've been checking out your profile the past few days. So that you're a warehouse manager in the Carolinas, and we actually just worked with another warehouse manager last month to get X result. And then you ask for a meeting. But it just allows you to be more specific. And the more specific you are, the better you also understand what they care about. And that's something that I'm sure Adam understands really well, which all these job titles, all these people that do certain things, they have different motives. And you might be selling roofs, but the real problem might be profitability, or it might be like whatever it is. And you can speak to whatever those things are they care about and how your solution helps them with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which
then,
is
Adam, you can
downtime and liability. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah. No. And then what you can do is you can send, just like Jimmy said, you could have one video that you send to a lot of people and they feel like it was custom to them. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you want to make sure that they feel like they're the only human being that ever got it. So if you don't have time to do like one video for 3 minutes to a bunch of different people, a lot of times we'll do it for you. But if you still want to do it at scale, make it so targeted in your video or audio, so targeted that you can send out to 300 people in that same position and they still feel like you're talking to them. And that will help you save time. So sometimes more niche on your copy can get you really good results and save you time.
Because you ultimately want that prospect to say, hey, that's just like me. They really, that you want that connection. So dig that. Awesome. So anything else on the step 2, which is targeting?
Last thing, which is just really kind of, you create a list. Now that you've created a list, it's all about, you have to send them connection requests, right? So I do want to be clear that LinkedIn is experimenting with their rules as far as how many connection requests you're supposed to send in a day. And for some people, there are really people out there that are sending like 50 to 100 per day. And then there's other people that if they send 10 in a day, every day for a few days, then LinkedIn's going to give them a warning, and sometimes it has something to do with how many connections you currently have already. But I have people on our team that we're doing this process with, and these are like brand new profiles. They're sending it like 10 to 15 connection requests per day. Now, part of what's helping them is that they're actually getting a really high response rate because they're actually going to the person's profile, mentioning, hey, saw the article about top 5 reasons to work with Cornerstone Construction. Looks like you guys are killing it. Really happy to connect with you. Obviously, that message wasn't sent to 1,000 other people. And just by that person knowing that your outreach isn't meant for 1,000 other people, you've already separated yourself from the pack. Yes. So that's another thing you can do to get a higher connection rate. And the higher your connection rate is, actually the more connection requests you can send.
Because they don't want to see spam, I'm assuming.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can't stand with the connection requests that are like, I am connecting with leaders in the industry and I would love to. I'm like, what are you talking? I'm like, dude, how many thousands of people have you sent this to? So like that, make it personal, which is funny because that goes right in line with the whole SLAP formula that I teach at the door, which is about complimenting the homeowner. Say hi and break the ice. Usually a compliment, mentioning something on their property that captures your attention to put them at ease and be a human, and you're not just a robot there to sell. So really like that. Shall we slide into step number 3?
Please. Yes. So step 3 is creating familiarity. So this is an important step because as Adam just mentioned, what most people do, if you log into your LinkedIn, most of you guys that are listening probably created a LinkedIn and then just don't really visit it that much. But then when you do visit it, you see your inbox is full with people that you've decided to accept their connection request. Then 45 seconds later, they have a bot that sends you, hey, auto-populated name, thought you had a really interesting looking profile, 3-paragraph sales pitch, calendar link. And, maybe if you don't have a huge target on your back and you can make a $1,000 purchase, then that might work on you or something. But when you are capable of making a $50,000 decision, $100,000, $500,000, $1 million plus dollar decision, you have a lot of people all over the world that want to have a meeting with you. And so you can probably imagine they have seen everything. So in step 4, we're going to cover another way that you can stand out. But before you even send a message, it's not even like what you send them. It's how do I make sure that I'm creating familiarity with them before I send a message so that the first time they see my name and face is not when I'm in their inbox. So best way to do that, obviously content is one of the ways that you can do that, and content's great. The only reason that we don't even offer that as a service right now, and someday we will, is that it leaves it to chance. I want to make sure that I'm showing up in the number one place across any social media platform that people are addicted. And that is that little red dot, their notifications. So if I know that if I do something to show up in someone's notifications, that there's a very high likely chance that they're going to see that because people always click on that little red dot, then it's just a game of, okay, well, what are all the ways that I can show up in someone's notifications, right? So I'll give you guys a few right now. One of them, and it's common sense, reacting to someone's post. And it's a little bit extra if you don't just thumbs up the post, but you heart it or you clap, or like LinkedIn has different reactions than Facebook and stuff. But like you can do that. You can also comment on someone's post. So you can do a very generic comment like, hey, great work, keep it up, when they post a team photo. Or you can actually create dialogue with them in their comments before you send them a private message, which is great because they look really bad if they don't respond to a public post. So I've leveraged that for clients before. We actually have a client that works in the same building as us. And I said, I said, hey man, give me your phone real quick. I went to his number one prospect on his entire list, went to that guy's recent post history. He was like chief nursing officer at a big hospital here. And I just reacted to the guy's post and I said, hey man, how long did it take you guys to complete that? Because he was sharing about something that their company did. And he responded to the post. And then he saw my client's message from months earlier, messaged him back and said, hey man, sorry for just seeing this. Here's my cell number. Give me a call.
Wow.
Right.
This is awesome. I love the overlap. Justin, you and I talked about this. It's called the friendship formula, creating familiarity. So this Jack Schaefer wrote a book. He's an FBI agent called The Like Switch, Like. Proximity, frequency, duration, and intensity. How close are you? How often are you there? What did I say? Frequency. Intensity. I just missed one. Frequency, duration, intensity, proximity. And when you work these, and it's the same thing that we teach in the neighborhoods, create familiarity. That way, when people interact with you, there's the cold interaction. Who the heck is this person too? Right. Oh, I recognize them. And that's the big shift. So I love that. So you're using this digital creating familiarity and showing up in notifications.
It's a digital neighborhood, right?
It is
really taking the same psychology. You just got to show it in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they see trucks awesome with your name on it at your neighbor's house, many times prior to them knocking on their door, likelihood of them at least being open-minded to a conversation is much higher. Totally.
I love that. And I love the tips about showing up in the notifications. Mm-hmm. It's a very simple way to break it down.
Yeah. Adam, one quick tip. Just make sure that you're not the guy that likes, endorses, comments, send a message in like 5 seconds. Because then everyone knows that you're just playing the game. There's no authenticity, right? Yeah. So maybe
I get that on Instagram.
Yeah. It's like, did you just like every post I had since 2016? So anyways, just be creative with it. Maybe have a couple likes and posts and go back and forth. The next day, come back in. In our system, we nurture the relationship multiple days, every 24 hours. But that's because it's a little bit more systematic so that it feels natural. Like you're just every day you're engaging with their content and you love it. So just don't take it to such an extreme that it looks fake. That's all.
So think of it like dating. You're not going to go be like, you have beautiful shoes on. I love your eyes. Your hair looks great. Your dog's cute. By the way, I saw you repainted your house. Looks awesome. And then now you're like, okay, this is getting creepier. So you got to play it cool, like you're dating, right?
Yeah, and and you've heard me say it multiple times already, but done is always better than perfect. So what our team does for our clients, like the whole reason our name is Lead Baller is what Justin just said. We actually spread out our engagement with them where we put them at bat when they agree to connect. When we like a post, we put them at first base. When we comment on a post, put them at second base, endorse them for a skill, which is the third thing I was about to say, put them at third base, then send message. Right. So we organize like that. But if all that organization is going to keep you back from just doing it, then just do it. Right. Done is better than perfect. The endorsing thing is actually my favorite because oftentimes that will actually get them to message you. So before I had I'm not the most organized person. I have to put a lot of organized people around me. Before I had any of those people around me or any base system or anything, what I would do honestly every day is I would endorse like 50 people every day and know that a percentage of those people are going to message me back saying, thanks for endorsing me for leadership or something. Because what happens is you go to someone's profile, you endorse them for a few skills, leadership, public speaking, roofing. And then they get a notification that says, Jimmy Coleman just endorsed you for roofing and 2 other skills. And then there's this big call to action button that says, say thanks. Well, they click that button, automatically LinkedIn will have a message thread with you and them auto-populate. The message is already typed out. So that all that person has to do is click send. So the way I thought about it was, wow, if I endorse 50 of my A+ prospects every day, that's 50 times a day. My prospects are 2 clicks away from beginning a conversation with me so that I don't even have to open the door myself.
Cookie crumbs.
Right. Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah. So like that was, and then it was just like, once they would message me and say, thanks for endorsing me. I'd, hey, sure thing. By the way, notice that you blah, 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 and then go into my thing. But it was conversational at that point. They were the ones that made the awkward step of saying something to me. And it's rude if I don't respond back.
And,
Yeah.
then they feel obligated to have to engage in conversation because they started the conversation.
Yeah. There's back
So
and forth.
it really is the best interaction you can do on the platform.
Social obligation. Real good. I dig it. Awesome. So we're 3 steps into this framework. 4th step, lay it on me.
4th step is what I call stand outreach. So there's outreach, but then there's outreach that actually stands out from what everyone else does, right? So stand outreach. So with stand outreach, it's somewhat of what to say. It does make a difference. Everyone's always assuming that it's all about the copywriting and stuff, and copywriting is valuable in order for the message to land. But something I know from hanging out with my roofing friends is it's all about like, how many times did someone at least just open the door, right? You just want to get the chance for them to open the door, because you could suck, but if you have more people open doors, then you'll beat Michael Jordan in free throws, right? It's the whole analogy. So how are we going to get them to open the door? Well, we already have an advantage by having shown up in their notifications multiple times. But to take it a step further, it's not just about what you send or like what you say, but it's how you send it. So and again, if you are truly doing this yourself, manually sending out messages to people, then make sure that people can tell, because there are 1,000 LinkedIn auto-generated bot companies I could probably name that will send spammy typed out messages to your prospects. Yeah. So how do you separate yourself from them? How do you get the person to know that this was truly meant for them? Because honestly, even if you go to their profile, point out something that they put in their summary, sometimes with me, you have half of a second to prove to me that this is something that I actually want to read, right? And so just by it being typed out, you might lose me. So getting to the point here, try these 2 things. One of them is an audio message. Most people on LinkedIn don't even know that's possible. You can only do it on your mobile phone.
I didn't know that was
Well, yeah. It's just like on your iPhone. You have to actually press the button and hold it and speak into your phone, and you can only do it on your phone and not your laptop. So
that might be it. I refuse to have any social media platforms on my phone.
There you go. Yeah,
I gotta add it now.
So yeah, you can, instead of typing out what you're going to say, you just speak into your phone. That way they actually hear personality too. First off, they see that their inbox, most people have not received one of those before on LinkedIn. And so you're the first person to the race, and they're going to check it out, right? Just because it's something different and it's a pattern interrupt. And then they get to hear your voice. They know that, again, it wasn't meant for 1,000 other people, because Lead Baller is actually the only company in the world that has the ability to do that at scale. So it's not a thing where people are like, oh, great, another automated audio message. We're the only company in the world doing that. So it's not common. And you get to just show your human and your personality, all that stuff. The other way you can send a message too is through a video message. And I would recommend mixing it up, but with a video message, same deal, has to be from your phone. You point the camera at you. If you're watching this podcast or this interview, I would recommend looking at the screen right now. And when you do send a message, write the person's name on a sheet of paper or on the whiteboard next to you and say, hey, Adam. So that way, and make sure it's there for the first few seconds of that video. That way, when they open up their inbox, they're not going to see a typed out crappy message that everyone else sends. They're going to see a video, and in the thumbnail of that video, their name is going to be on that sheet of paper. So that way they know that it is truly meant for them, right? And so, again, unless you're using Lead Baller, we have technology that skirts around that. But they click on play on that video, and they'll see the video of you and the name, and then you just go into the same pitch. The copy can be the same thing every time. Now, I can give you guys copy that's pretty effective, by the way. Normally, it's the same thing for most of our clients. Just insert whatever case study here, but it's hey, what's going on? You probably noticed I've been checking out your profile the past few days. Saw that you're a fill in the blank area, And we actually just got X result for another fill in the blank area last month. Obviously, I have no idea whether we could do the same thing for you, but what do you think about just maybe connecting on a call 15 minutes next week and see if there's an opportunity for us to work together someday? Very simple, right? But because it's coming from a real human being, much harder to slam a door in that person's face
and
than it is just typed out.
Especially after you connected, nurtured the relationship, sent a custom video, and wrote in their name. Because even if they say no, Adam, the no is like, Jimmy, this is epic. Thanks so much for the message. I'm not the right guy, but like even your no's are awesome no's. And at the end of the day, the way you prospect is the same exact way that people are going to expect the quality of your work. So if it is white glove and badass, they're going to expect that from your company. And if it's spammy, then I'm probably assuming that you half-ass your job as well. And so that heart you put into that, it goes a long way. And it's a direct reflection of the work you're going to put in after the relationship's built.
Curiosity is so powerful too. I agree with everything you just said.
Yeah.
When people see their name on a piece of paper, they cannot help but want to know what's in it, what's inside, what did you put together? You know, the same thing we teach with the direct mail and the letters. If I left this on your door and it said stop by at 4:15 with just my name and it's folded up, what are you going to do? You're going to open it. It's the same thing with digital. We be a force together as a team, people using these things. You know, you can't help. What we're looking for is when I mentioned to Jimmy, the breadcrumbs, first commitment, open it versus trash it, right? You're at the decision tree. Works same with direct mail, letters at the door, virtual door knocking. Are they going to delete it and ignore it? Or are they going to open it? It's our first decision. We pique this curiosity, we get open. Then we keep the attention and then get them to reply, right? So there's all these different steps. And I love that you've laid out this framework to play into that, but also provide amazing service that's memorable. It's really sharp, really, really sharp.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we work really hard on it. And like, I was just getting a testimonial from a client the other day, and one of the things that they were saying is the most important reason that people hire us, because anyone can hire a really cheap company to just like spam, and that can replace humans, right? So we're teaching this to people, but you could just, you know, have a shortcut and just hire something to have the 7-step spam sequence or something. But the downside of that is, let's say you have 1,000 people on your prospect list, all people you want to do business with. Well, and you might even book, you know, 10 calls from that, which wouldn't be such a bad stat. But it's not just that the 990 people decided that you had a great approach and you've built your brand and it's just not the right timing for them. That's probably like 990 people that really don't like you and never want to hear from you again, based on the way that you reached out to them and just spammed them to death, right? Yeah. So what we're teaching people to do is find a way to play the numbers game, but do it in a way where you're creating brand awareness and you're actually impressing people along the way. So even if today is not the time, they were still really impressed by you. And Justin's right. Every single day I have people tell me no, but it's such a nice no. And it starts off the same. I can't tell at the beginning whether it's gonna be a yes or no, because it starts off really nice. And I've even had some people say, hey, send that to this other person on my team because they just think it's so cool. So, and it just feels good when you're prospecting in a way that doesn't feel dirty, you know?
Yeah.
Especially in the roofing industry, right, Adam, where like you have a finite amount of buildings that you can do commercial deals. You have a finite amount of realtors and insurance agents. If you're in the financial industry and you got 1.9 million people you can go after in each state, you have the flexibility on your side. Every single no has carries weight. Every yes does too. And so that's why it's infinitely more important in this industry. And
commercial property owners have friends who are commercial property owners. And what do? Hey, do you know any roofers? Do you know anyone? Yeah. So having a good taste in someone's mouth is huge. I love it. And it is important. You don't want to be ruining your brand, which is one reason I am very against the throw mud at the wall and see what sticks approach to hiring salespeople, because they're just out like destroying the brand image because they're going to be gone in a week. So summarizing this 4-step framework for landing commercial sales on LinkedIn, we got step 1, profile optimization. Step 2 is targeting. Step 3 is creating familiarity. And step 4 is the standout reach to be different. Absolutely love it. So everyone here has actionable items they and implement in the field right away. Check your inbox to get the FAR snapshot. If you're not getting it, there's a link in the description, and I can get this in your hands because I've typed all this up as we're going through. There are people here who are going to say, my time is more valuable than doing this on my own. And if that's that person, reach out to Lead Baller. Jimmy, Justin, any closing remarks, and where can people find you?
Yeah, I don't think Justin gets enough emails. He barely does anything all day. So if you want to email Justin at leadballer.com, that'd be a great idea. You can also go to
I'll delegate that to someone else to come and take care of it. But yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, or obviously leadballer.com. And you can, if you're smart, you can probably guess what my email is too. But those are two places. Obviously leadballer.com, there's a place for people to book a call with our team, and you know, we're very careful about who we allow to do business with us, because there's, you know, so not everyone's at a stage where it does make sense for them. We're fixing the problem of, hey, this is a great way to reach out, but if you make more money by paying us to do it for you, that's what we're here for. If you don't, then we're not the best fit, and you should kind of just like suck it up and do it yourself, kind of thing. So
create the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I dig it. I just want to say thank you both again. I really appreciate and value. And it's why I wanted to set this interview up when I connected with Justin, was the focus on helping others, and that both of you independently upon meeting was like, here's the 4 steps. There's no like, hey, you want the 5th magical piece to tie it together? Like, anyone can take this. We shared the screen. We've seen this on LinkedIn. I have copious amount of notes. I've got my own action items to update my profile, thanks to you guys. So let this be an opportunity to put it to work, and again, connect with Lead Baller if you guys need help. Is there any closing things you'd like to share with listeners before we call it a wrap, since we are a little over time and I know you're both busy people?
Yeah, we'll be at RoofCon. So I'm assuming, I mean, we're one of the sponsors there, and Adam, I think we're right next to where you are. So come and meet us there as well. But you can totally email me at Justin@LeadBaller as well. But no, I'm excited to meet as many people in the industry as I can.
Awesome. Jimmy, Justin, thank you both so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.